Hello, and welcome to the Right Here, Right Queer podcast. I am RK Ashwick, your host for today, and I am here with Emma R Alban. So Emma is a best-selling author of queer historical romance books such as Don't Want You Like a Best Friend and You're the Problem It's You. Emma, incidentally, has also been my friend for about 13 years, so this is a very exciting day. I have been pestering her about being on this podcast for months, and today I finally get to interrogate her. So welcome, Emma.
Thank you so much for having me. I am delighted to be here and completely confused that it's been 13 years, but delighted that it has been 13 years as well. We're old.
I know. It does not feel real. I mean, it feels like college was a long time ago, and then also, but 13 years sounds incorrect.
13 years is an entire primary to secondary education as well.
Right.
Which is just like, we're an entire high schooler now.
Oh, no. Oh, God. Horrifying.
Sorry, didn't want to.
No, let's talk about romance books rather than horror.
Sounds good.
Which of your books are you most excited to talk about today and why?
So I have a new book coming out January 13th, 2026. It's called Like in Love with You. It's a standalone sapphic rivals to lovers Regency romance that begs the question, what if Katie and Regina from Mean Girls just kissed?
Yes!
I'm very excited for that to come out. It's about two debutantes who are forced to fight over the same lackluster man in Bath in 1817 because of their feuding mothers, and slowly come to realize that they ought to be fighting for each other instead.
I love that. It truly is a question that needs to be answered, and I'm glad that you're answering it in the only way you know how.
Thank you. Yes, it had to be in Regency gowns. It has to be with bonnets. It has to be with kid gloves. There was no modern way to answer this question, for sure.
No, absolutely not. So, do you have a favorite character you've created? And this can be from the upcoming book, or it can be from many of your past books.
In Like in Love with You, I think it's a tie between Rosalie's brother Christopher and Rosalie's Aunt Genevieve, because they are both mischievous and incredibly loving and incredibly chaotic. And I was delighted every time I got to write them. Sibling dynamics between Rosalie and Christopher are really sweet, and it's nice to get to write a happy brother-sister relationship. I feel like we don't get enough of those in all books, but particularly in historical romance. And then across all of my books, of course, I want to say all of my girls, but I think that's such a bad but.
You have to choose, Emma.
But from Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, I think it's Dashiell, Gwen's dad.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was just so much fun. Every time he was on page, he was just so much fun. And then in book 2, I really liked Thomas Parker. Thomas Parker, who owns De Vere, the underground queer nightclub. I wanted to do a whole book with him. I hope someday I can still do a whole book with him. And he was just so much fun. And everything he said got to be irreverent and chaotic and mischievous. I like my chaotic, mischievous kids, I guess is the answer.
I was going to say, yeah, what I'm getting from this is you really like the side characters who have the flexibility to be unhinged while also being supportive of the main characters and while also causing trouble.
Correct, in every way. Yeah.
Yeah. I love those characters.
They're fun. They're really fun.
They are fun.
Thank you.
Yes, they're nice when you have like angsty characters. They're a very nice break, and they're a very refreshing counterpoint, I think, sometimes to kind of what's going on in the book. So yeah, I know, I absolutely get it. It makes sense.
I do adore all of my main couples. They are also just as fun to write, and they are also chaotic, mischievous, and disasters, because I don't know that I can write anything that's not. But yes, the side characters are definitely the most fun to write, so they have the most special place in my heart, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you mentioned offhand that the what if Regina, George, and Katie just kissed had to be through bonnets and kid gloves. So what drew you to your subgenres, which in this case is historical romance set in Victorian and Regency England?
I've always loved costume drama since I was very small, and I sort of grew up on Pride and Prejudice, and when I got into my early 20s, I got deeply into Outlander, which was sort of the first historical romance that I read, and then I slowly got into other historical romances and became aware that people were writing them for queer characters and for diverse characters. And this was all before like Bridgerton hit the scene on TV, but as soon as that did, there's been this sort of explosion of more diverse historical romance, and I really love the structure of these stories. I love the costumes and the clothing and how it enhances and sort of makes commentary on everything that you're doing, because it's all so buttoned up, it's so many layers, and as you peel those off, you can also peel off layers of character and layers of subconscious armor. There's a lot of mirroring and reflection and metaphor in all of the clothing. And I just got really into it. I enjoyed doing research. And for decades and decades and decades, straight people had gotten to have these swoony, tortured, angsty stories about people in the past, but queer people and BIPOC people hadn't gotten to read as many of those. And so getting to give queer characters all of those experiences with all of those costumes in these very strict settings was important to me, to show that queer people have always been here and always been happy and always found love despite everything around them in society. And getting to devise these stories that have all these hijinks and shenanigans, but still at their core are about found family and finding meaning and finding who you are, is just very attractive to me. It speaks to the stories in my head very nicely. I love the Regency period. I love the Victorian period. I do hope to write in eras outside of both of those eventually, just because there are only so many marriage market stories I can tell in Regency London before all of the characters have to run into each other eventually.
Yeah.
People keep asking, like, oh, so it was like In Love With You, part of the Mischief and Matchmaking series, part of Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, You're the Problem, It's You. And I have to be like, well, it is 40 years earlier, so Dashiell's alive, but he's like 1.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But to me, they are all within the same world, but not canonically.
Yeah, yeah. And that's like, it's a very juicy conflict, the marriage market, but there's also only so many things you can do within the marriage market. So yeah, it absolutely makes sense. But yes, you know, to what you're saying, there is a lot of, like, all of the social mores of the time and the metaphors within, everything that they are kind of constructing for themselves and all the rules and how they break the rules and everything like that. It's, I totally see me having the background knowledge of you doing all of the research and, you know, going to England and all of that stuff. Like, I see it. And I think I think your readers see it too, particularly with, you know, the success of Don't Want You Like a Best Friend.
Well, thank you very much. It's been lovely to get to explore. And yeah, the inherent conflict it speaks to story really easily.
Oh, yeah.
Getting to go to London and Bath over the holidays last year was really magical. I enjoyed that very much. You get a bunch of that in Like In Love With You from having gone there. Although I was very happy to see that my research really did pay off, because there wasn't much that I saw while I was there where I had to go, oh no, I was wrong. Oh crap, I must change this. So I was very proud of that. There weren't enough seagulls was really what I came down to. There's so many seagulls in Bath.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. I maybe only mentioned once or twice, but like I hadn't... When I was there, I was like, oh, this is more seagulls than I thought it is.
Wow. Fascinating. Yeah, I've been in Bath once with Joe. I mean, you know Joe. The readers don't know Joe. Sorry, listeners. That's my husband. And it's a surprisingly a small place. Like, I think we were able to walk around most of it in just like a day.
I walked around it twice in the day that I was there because it finally got sunny. And I was like, I must get back to the big, beautiful thing to take a picture.
Yes.
Because it was only going to be sunny for like 40 minutes. I was running around trying to get yellow photographs everywhere I could.
Classic England.
For marketing purposes.
Yeah. Wow, wonderful. Apologies, listeners. That's more than you ever wanted to know about our trips in Bath. Our separate trips in Bath. So we talked a little bit about the historical romance stories that inspire you. What other kind of stories inspire you?
I've been trying to come up with a good answer for this. All stories?
Okay, that's fair.
Is sort of my answer. Like, I have written fan fiction since I was about 13, and I have written and read fan fiction for all kinds of things I never thought I would be interested in, because I'll be watching a movie or watching a TV show or reading a book, and there'll just be like a line somewhere in there that makes me think, oh my God, I would want to know an entire book's worth of information about this one thing. So there's not any one specific thing that inspires me. I think it's more like relationships inspire me, romance in general inspires me, because I think the way that you take two characters who are generally fairly damaged in some way or another and try to make their damage fit each other and get them to communicate when they don't want to talk, all of that just speaks to me. The only things that don't, I guess, are like really hardcore horror and like gore, but I could probably get there if the characters were interesting enough. Quite honestly, like I can just, if two people have eye contact in any medium, I will be inspired.
Nice. I gotta say, I have not gotten that response before to that question. I do love that. And it makes a lot of sense.
And I don't know if that's because I started reading fan fiction so early or if that was always in me. But just, yeah, if there's lingering eye contact, it doesn't matter what medium or what I'm reading or watching. I will be into it and I will want to know.
So you're always there with a ship ready to go.
And there will be fan fiction for it, is also the answer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's always other people who will share your level of kind of like red string corkboard shipping.
Yes.
And we love that.
It's delightful.
So we talked a little bit about, specifically for historical romance in historic England, kind of like the marriage market and the social rules and kind of the themes surrounding that. Are there any other themes that you find that you like to explore or revisit? And that can be basically any theme. It doesn't have to be about, the setting.
So I think if you've read any of my work, found family is definitely the biggest theme that covers all genres that I've ever worked in. I think a group of people coming together and choosing to love each other, choosing to support each other is something I come back to time and again. We have a really wonderful found family out here in LA, so it's something I actually know in real life, which is wonderful. It just speaks to, I think, where the stories come from in my head and where all the stories that I loved in my childhood came from, that were people who maybe didn't have as strong familial relationships or were far away from their families. And so forming a new one and making a chosen family comes up over and over again in my work. Figuring out how to love yourself just as much as loving another person as well, which both I think is just organic to what I like to write, and also particularly for queer stories in a historical setting. There's a lot of societal bias and phobia that comes into it, and so the characters need to learn to appreciate themselves and have strength in themselves and not in what society thinks of them. So that comes up a lot. I also, not as much in these queer historical romances, but in general, I am a big fan of damaged adult takes in foundling child and they become small family. Is a theme that has come up in my work over and over and is also just something I love to read. I don't know why, which also dovetails with step parent romance, which I think is considered a trope. It goes along with single parent romance. This is romance of the parents, clearly, but I like families and I like how all families come together in all kinds of different ways, I guess is the answer.
Yeah. And I think that absolutely comes through. And knowing that, I get kind of a sneak peek into your future work and the kind of family structures and the family dynamics and the level to which they support or don't support each other and have kind of biases on what they expect their children to be, how they support or do not support their children. It's just also varied, which is very nice. It's a very different take for each of your books, I would say.
Thank you. I work very hard to try and make sure that, especially because these books all take place in very much similar settings, if not the same settings, that I'm trying to tell different stories each time. Very often when I think of my own books, it's it's this book, but a little to the left. Or it's this book, but a little to the right. And it's taking a very similar setup and just going, well, what if I changed every single piece of this? What would it look like? And then that's the next book. And that's a challenge that I enjoy.
Good. Good. Have you ever played or watched The Last of Us?
Okay, so I know I should. I understand exactly why you're asking.
Yep, okay.
But unfortunately, I also know what happens. So it's oh no, but you built up this whole, Pedro Pascal is her dad. And then I know things are not hunky-dory by the end of that second season.
Right. Well, I would say just ignore season 2. Just bask in season 1. Or game 1, whichever medium you prefer.
Just end with them in the dinosaur, whatever that is. I've seen gifs of that at the end of season 2. Oh no, just cut off there. You wouldn't watch the rest of the season. You just stop. Be oh yay, they were happy.
No, I think you should watch the end of season 1 because it's so emotionally impactful. Or at least, I'm actually biased. I watched my husband play the game. And so I have seen, and he's played it 7 times. So I have seen all the cutscenes. And I know, the ending. So that's where I'm coming from. But yeah, in terms of, grumpy, damaged man, takes in a kid and turns it into a little family despite the odds. I mean, that dynamic is so up your alley.
I know. I just, I'm also not great with horror. So, the zombies of it really sort of, put me off. And then I have watched many a show in GIF form because it is adjacent to something else I'm obsessed with. That was my entire experience of Tumblr was I only watched one season of Once Upon a Time, but I know everything that happened in that show because it was adjacent to what I was doing on Tumblr. So I've just seen the whole thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Similar thing with The Last of Us. And so as soon as I saw the ending of season 2, I was oh, I don't know that I can ever do that.
No.
I don't know that I can make it through.
No.
But yes, Pedro Pascal takes a child over hill and dale to grandma's house is a trope that I enjoy and becomes family with child, a long journey. And he's done it twice, which, I'd have 2 nickels. So.
Yeah, which is not a lot, but weird that it's happened twice. Pedro Pascal, the man that you are. So we also talked a little bit about what motivates your fan fiction, but what drives your full book storytelling?
I don't know how to not be writing is a thing I have learned about myself this year.
Big mood.
Which is, I think, something I've always known, but was very clear. Like the minute I finished a project this year, I was just like, and I must write fan fiction because I don't think my brain knows how to be quiet. But
Emma, are we the same person?
It does seem that way quite often. Or two sides of the same person where we're like, I'm having this problem. I'm like, I'm not having this problem right now, but I'm having the opposite problem. We balance. But I have just had story in my head since I was very small, and putting it down on paper and getting to reread it for myself has always just been important and something I've enjoyed. It's also been a type of stress reliever. It's been a type of self-care. Whenever I was sad, there was always a story that I could be writing, and that would always be there for me no matter what was going on. I don't know if that's entirely healthy or not, but it's worked for me, so I'm going to keep doing it. But I've always had enough story in my head that I've needed to be writing it down. And if I don't have a deadline, if I don't have something on contract, I will still come up with an idea. And if it stays with me for 3 to 6 months, I'll write it because I just want to. So it comes from a very organic place. And I also don't know what I would do if I wasn't writing.
Fair.
You know, like baking, maybe, but I don't have any other extreme talents. I don't have any other extreme passions. This is the one, and it came on early. And now that there are people who want to read my books, like there's an audience there, and I want to write more stories for them. And I'm incredibly gratified that there are people that want to read my stories and who feel seen by my characters. And it feels like it's a worthwhile endeavor to keep putting stories into the universe and hoping that they speak to at least one person each. And hopefully many more than one person, but one person's enough. Yeah, I have to write for my mental health, maybe is the TLDR there, and it's working for me.
Well, I think they speak to you far more than one person, personally.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're doing an incredible job. Also, if you ever want to steal any of my hobbies, please do. If you could just take it away from me, that would be great.
You're so good at all of them, though. That I can't be bad at one of your hobbies when you're so good at them.
You sure you can. That's how you get good at being, the hobbies.
But I want to enjoy the spoils of you doing the hobbies.
Oh, fine. All right. Cool.
Look, if you can give me like a 10th of your drawing power, I'd be gratified.
Oh yeah, sure. No, you can have it.
Cool. Okay.
Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Alakazam, I have bestowed it upon you. That's how that works.
Because she can write them, she can draw them, now she can make them into video games, she can build the costumes for them. You can just 3D print your entire world, and it's incredibly impressive. And bake it. So
oh boy. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of effort, so I'm just gonna keep writing books, if that's okay.
Well, since I love reading your books, I'm glad that that's how you're choosing to use your powers.
Thank you. So what do you hope to accomplish with your future stories?
I hope my stories keep making people feel seen, that when they come to my worlds, there's somebody that they can identify with, no matter who they are, no matter how they identify, that there's something in the story that comforts them and makes them feel seen. I hope I get to just continue coming up with ideas that make everyone in my life just like snort through their nose, because that is my favorite thing, is to pitch a book to someone, have them laugh, and then I get to go home and be like, and then I'm going to make you cry. One of my goals is incredibly chaotic ideas that also have pathos. And just that I get the opportunity to keep writing the weird stories that come into my head, that I get to write the stories that I've been thinking about for a number of years. Much appreciation to my friends who ask all the time, what about this one? I'm like, just wait. It'll someday, I promise. In the meantime, here's another chaotic idea instead. I hope I keep getting to write them, and that enough people continue to want to read them that I can still make some money off of it. Because obviously I will do this no matter who's paying me or not paying me, but paying me would be nice. Hopefully enough sales to keep the publishers coming back for more. But mostly I hope I just have enough time and enough bandwidth to keep writing all the stories that are in my head, because it's fun.
Absolutely. So I think we kind of already covered what you want readers to take away from your books. But what advice do you have for aspiring authors?
So the first thing is, if you are writing a book, or if you have written a book, you are already an author. You are already a writer. It doesn't need to be published for that to be true. And I always want to say that because no matter who you're writing for, even if it's just for yourself, you are a writer and you're doing it. And that's, oh my God, that's 95% of the game, is to just write the thing.
Truth.
In terms of writing the thing, I'm an everyday writer and that has worked very well for me, but it doesn't have to work well for you. No matter how much you write every day or not every day or once a week or once a month, you are still a writer and you should go at your own pace and write the story that speaks to you. It can be really easy to try and keep up with the market, but even in the fastest self-publishing world, you can't write as quickly as the market changes. So writing a story that matters to you and that speaks to you is far more important than trying to chase a trend. Now look, if you want to write a book about people who have magic and are riding dragons in wars, which seems to be a very popular romantasy thing, and you can do that fast, go with God. Enjoy your dragon wars. But a lot of the time, by the time you're done writing your dragon war book, we're going to have moved on to something else in the public consciousness. But if your dragon war book is great, that's all that matters. And write for you before anybody else, because you're going to have to read the book more times than anyone else in the world ever has to read that book. You're going to read this book so many times. Make sure that you like what you're writing, because if you hate what you're writing, boy, are you going to hate it more when you're reading your third pass pages round and wondering where the commas belong.
Yeah. Yeah, and for me, even if I have one scene that I'm not liking writing, it is such a slog. I cannot imagine writing a whole book that I just have no interest in. It's gotta be coming from internal motivation first, for me, at least.
Absolutely. Even when writing it is really hard, even when writing it is a slog, I think if you like the idea enough, you can get through that in tiny little pieces. I know, Like in Love With You was really hard to write. It did not flow out of me the way that other books have. But I was so fond of the idea that it was okay when I sat down and stopped for the day and was like, oh my God, that was so hard. But then I'd go back and reread it and be like, oh, but I really like this. And as long as you have that, you can get through it. But if you never have, oh, but I really like this, yeah, why? Why put yourself through that?
Yeah, you have to really attach to the core of the story, because I think when you do get into the slog and you're like, something is not working here, you can always return to, why did I initially pick this idea? Why did this book jump out to me? What am I really loving about this book? And you just kind of keep bringing it back to basics. I feel like a lot of my re-outlining and my early revisions are constantly doing that, because I usually find that in pursuit of keeping up with the conflict or adding subplots, I just kind of end up veering away from the core idea and I have to keep coming back to it.
I really enjoy getting to read your very early drafts and then your completed novels and seeing exactly those things of where the core of the story stayed the same, but you added this or you took this away, or you added a subplot, or oh, this character is totally different, but the core of them is always the same. And I think you do an excellent job of taking your idea from start to finish. Just to sing your praises a little bit, because I do get to read your draft zeros, and I desperately enjoyed reading A Draft for a Dragon after having read your draft zero and just being like, holy shit, you changed so much and yet it's all still the same.
Yep.
And I feel all the same feelings, but wow, it's a tiny masterclass in writing that I get to have when you write all of your books, and I really enjoy that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Emma and we beta read for each other. So Emma often has to read a lot of my really garbage draft zeros where I'm putting gifs of that Sesame Street guy in the trash can where I'm like, this is my story. Have fun. And she always gives me great advice on how to fix it and make it not garbage before it reaches your hands, listeners.
And vice versa. RK gives me incredible notes every time she reads my books. But also, I would like to say that I always love your draft zeros. I will finish reading them and then need 3 or 4 days to be like, what can I say that's constructive here other than, I really liked this. And often I don't feel like I'm giving you big notes. They're like, oh, I'd like a little more of this, or because your worlds are so fully realized and your characters are so fully realized that it's not like I'm coming in being like, Act 2 doesn't work at all. That's not, I've never had that note.
It's okay. Joe gives me the big notes, and then your notes balance out his notes.
I'm glad that we both serve a purpose, and I'm impressed by your internal marriage conflict resolution. Then speaks to the strength of your relationship that he can give you, break your book notes, and you don't just stab him in his sleep.
It's a lot of mercy and self-restraint on my part. No. Well, I think it helps that he knows me so well that he already knows the note behind the note. And he knows oh, you did this in the writing because of this. And so he just can work around that and kind of get to the core of it, which is kind of like what is it? What's the meme? The horrors of being known. You're chronically online.
Oh, like the perils of perception?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wow, what is it? Hold on,
I can't think of the exact one.
God, the fear of being perceived.
Oh, just the fear of being perceived. Yeah.
Fear of being perceived. Yeah.
Well, so listener, I think our best piece of advice is to marry your best beta reader. And now that's going to be hard to accomplish. Some of you are already married. Some of you might not be attracted to your best beta reader, and that's okay. Relationships can overcome a lot. But yeah, clearly the answer is marry your best beta reader.
Yep. That's our advice.
Just my problem is all of my best beta readers are already married, so this is going to be a challenge for me. But we'll work on it.
Follow us for more reasonable, practical advice on your writing career.
Easily applicable. Yeah.
Now, speaking of following us for reasonable advice, if people want to learn more about your upcoming book or your backlist, where can they find you?
So on Instagram and TikTok and Threads, I am at Era of Emma, ERA of Emma. Those are my initials. And you can go to emmaralban.com to get buy links for any of my books. Also, at my socials, there is a link tree that will take you to all of the things.
And if you'd like to learn more about this podcast, you can find us on Right Here, Right Queer Podcast on Instagram. And if you want to see what I am up to in terms of reading and baking and other things, I am RK Ashwick Books on Instagram and rkashwick.com, of course. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for dealing with all of our tangents and listening to our extremely reasonable practical advice. And we will see you next time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Woo!